As part of the budget preparation process, the Ministry of Finance has begun engaging stakeholders to hear their views on the state of the economy and suggestions for the way forward. Among the priorities of the government for the budget cycle are structural reforms, competitiveness and employment, strategic and targeted investment, and continued fiscal discipline. Support for healthcare delivery, agriculture and fisheries have also been listed as of paramount importance. Deputy Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Finance, Ophelia Wells Cornwall, says the inclusion of youth is important to the development of the 2018 budget.
We are going to include the youths. Before, we would have probably national consultation, but not specific to the youths. And we felt it's important to include them going forward. And we're going to include the youths in our discussion. We take private sector generally, but we don't necessarily include the Bankers Association. This year we are including the Bankers Association because we think it's important to hear from the financial services sector what their views are. But youth is a big deal for us this year. We are very excited to include them.
She added that the plan is to consolidate the gains under the Structural Adjustment Program.
For our objective is grounded in legislation. You may be aware that we recently commissioned the Fiscal Responsibility Oversight Committee. Now, their responsibility is to independently look at the performance of the government and lay their report before Parliament. So whatever we do would be guided by those parameters that are in the various legislation.
Over the next 2 weeks, the budget consultations with stakeholders would include trade unions, financial institutions, private sector organizations, agricultural organizations, farmers, fisherfolks, and youth organizations. The Deputy PS says this time around, they are doing things differently in terms of outreach.
What we did this year, which was slightly different from what we would have done before, when we sent out the invitation for the consultation, we actually provided a template that more or less guided them how to determine what areas we should focus on. So we first gave an overview of the economy. So unemployment is still a challenge, predominantly in the youthful population, albeit unemployment is going down. It is still something that we want to keep our eyes on, and we would raise that. And out of those issues, based on where we are, then they would put forward suggestions. So it's always guided by the analytical work that we would have done. So it's not just civil society or any other group, just basically saying things, So it's guided by those issues.
A consultation will also be held in the Sister Isles for the people of Carriacou and Petite Martinique. Eugenia Peters, GBN News.